Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to News Dose. And right away, I want to go ahead and apologize for my voice. As some of you may have been aware, I've been sick since last week, and I guess it's just kind of caught up to my voice now. But, you know, the show, it must carry on. So I'm going to try to do this video to the best of my ability. But I am sorry if my voice cracks throughout. I can already feel it cracking right now. But nonetheless, I want to dedicate this video to more of a singular topic, because it's been a very interesting and also unfortunate morning. The Insomniac ransomware hack has found its way onto the internet, just as the attackers promised if Sony didn't deliver them the money. Sony didn't, as they shouldn't. It really only promotes other hackers to do the same thing, so I don't blame them in this situation. Really, I'd say the hope here is that this group will ultimately get caught. But yes, 1.7 terabytes of information has leaked out online, making this one of the biggest gaming leaks of all time. Now, this includes a ton of information, all the way from Wolverine's gameplay, future planned games, to internal discussions regarding the Activision Blizzard acquisition, and just so much more. Now, we're not going to talk about all that today. If you want all that information, it's easily accessible online by this point. But what we're going to do in this video is talk about the future of Insomniac, their upcoming games, and also what's not in their lineup. I mean, this has already been plastered all over the internet by this point. Every gaming forum is talking about it. Media outlets have posted on it, and social media, as you would expect, has plastered it absolutely everywhere. So this is not some big secret anymore. So we might as well just go and talk about it, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on what we've learned. Now, the first thing that I want to say is that plans are subject to change. So what we're about ready to talk about doesn't necessarily guarantee that it'll play out exactly like this. Plans do change over time, especially things that are planned in the far out future. So do kind of keep that in mind going forward. But yes, Insomniac's internal roadmap leaked out, which includes all the games that they're planning to release over the next decade. So we're going to go over each one of those one by one. They are planning to release a new Venom game in late 2025. That's actually apparently their closest release. And what I think is happening here is that this is going to be another small scope game, kind of similar to Miles Morales. As we all know, was a huge hit for them. It sold a lot of copies. And because you do play as Venom in Spider-Man 2, it can easily be built upon for their next release. I think that this is a smart plan, and I like the idea of making Venom into more of a central character. I think he's a cool character, and he proved to be a lot of fun in Spider-Man 2. Of course, Sony also makes the Venom movies, so they can benefit in that way as well. So I just think when you look at everything, especially with the Miles Morales release and how successful that game was, I do think that another small scope game makes a lot of sense, and I think fans will be pretty excited about it when it does eventually get announced. Then the next game that they have planned is a game that we already know about, being Wolverine, which is a later release than I think some people were maybe hoping for. Right now, it's being planned for late 2026. I was kind of hoping that it would be a 2025 release, but it appears we still actually have a couple more years to go. That does bring some questions to Sony's first-party lineup for the next 2 years, because I think a lot of people were pegging this game to be a 2025 release. But, I mean, I guess the Venom game, even if it is a smaller scope title, it can kind of fill that lineup a little bit in 2025. Then Spider-Man 3, that's being planned for late 2028. Really no surprise there. They obviously aren't done with the Spider-Man franchise. I think that's very clear. Again, it's been a big success for them. Unfortunately, though, we won't see a new Ratchet & Clank game until late 2029. So we're still talking 6 years away. I'll come back to that here in just a moment, because that is a series that I very much do care about. Then in 2030, they're going right back to Marvel with an X-Men game. And then finally, a new IP is planned for 2031 or 2032. So if you noticed a trend here, Insomniac is now mostly a Marvel-based studio. They will have made 7 Marvel-based games in a 13-year period. And the 2031 new IP, I mean, if it releases that year, will be their first traditional AAA new IP since Sunset Overdrive, which released way back in 2014. And there's two sides of the coin here. On one side, from a personal perspective, I'll miss that more creative side of Insomniac, because it's a studio that I've historically really liked for games like that. But on the other side, like I get it. I really do. From a business perspective, this is probably a smart move by Sony and Insomniac. And let me explain why. The latest update for Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart was that it sold 2.7 million as of 2022. So, that's not anywhere near something like Spider-Man where it sells that much in a single day. But then you also have Sunset Overdrive, and it only made a $587 profit. Now, maybe that would have been different if it released as a PlayStation game. Maybe it would have made more money then. But meanwhile, you have the Spider-Man franchise, which has been a resounding success for Insomniac and PlayStation. We saw that with Spider-Man 2017, we saw it with Miles Morales, and once again with Spider-Man 2. So while I would like to see more of those original games, because I've historically enjoyed these games by Insomniac in the past, whether that be Spyro on the PlayStation 1, Resistance on the PlayStation 3, Sunset Overdrive on the Xbox One, or Ratchet & Clank on multiple PlayStation generations, this is a beloved studio that I genuinely do care about, and I want to see more original games from them. But I also understand their decision to focus on Marvel games, because ultimately, that's what gamers voted for. That's what the numbers tell us. So I can't really blame them for going in this direction. Is it disappointing for me personally? Yes and no. No, because I expect all of these games to be great anyways, because, well, Insomniac, they just know how to make great games. They've shown that time and time again. However, yes, there is some disappointment as well, because I will miss that originality that we've seen from Insomniac in the past. I wish that there was more of a balanced approach going into the future. But again, like I keep saying, I understand, because clearly they've had more success with Spider-Man than they've had with any other franchise that they've made in the past. So why not double down on this strategy? That's what they're kind of thinking to themselves. I also expect these games to sell extraordinarily well, and even though I don't personally get overly excited about licensed IP myself, if they're good games, I'll buy into them and I'll enjoy them, which I fully expect will happen. The same thing applies to Blade, Star Wars, Batman, Avatar, Indiana Jones, or whatever else licensed IP that gets made. These are all franchises that I recognize are huge popular IP. They're great for each respected brand that's making them, and I'll play and enjoy them if they're good. I'm also incredibly happy for all those people who are excited about these games, because I know there's a lot of people who are. I just think for me, the other side of the story is where I do find it a little discouraging for games that originated in the game industry. Ratchet & Clank fans will unfortunately have to wait at least 8 years before another one releases. At the same time, though, and I think that we need to recognize this, Insomniac continues to sound like an absolute unit. I mean, you have to realize that if they can meet all of their goals, and that is an if as of this moment, but if they do, Insomniac will have released 10 AAA caliber games from 2017 to 2032. That is absolutely crazy. Their output for these AAA games is among the industry's best, and while a part of that is because the style of games that they're making, they do get to stick in the same city with the Spider-Man releases, but to see that consistent quality from game to game is just so impressive. So I do want to give Insomniac Games some praise here. I know this leak has been terrible for them, but just know that one of the reasons that so many people are talking about this leak is because there's some exciting stuff in here. We're genuinely interested in Insomniac's future. And even though some of the surprises were ruined today, we're still excited all the same. I mean, just go ahead and look at Capcom as one such example. A huge portion of their games leaked out a few years back, but it was the gameplay reveals that amplified those announcements. That's where the excitement truly began. It brought them to life. So you still can surprise fans in that way. And if anything, for the moment, knowing Insomniac's future roadmap might bring some legitimate excitement for some people out there. I mean, again, if you're a Marvel fan, I'd say that you have to be thrilled right now. Insomniac has proven that they can make good Marvel-based games. We saw it with Spider-Man, but now they're going to get a chance with Venom. They're also going to get a chance with Wolverine and X-Men as well. So if you like those type of games, if you like those franchises, I think that this ultimately is a very, very exciting time for those fans. Now, for somebody like me, I'm actually most excited about the next Ratchet & Clank, and even though that's going to be a long wait, I wish it was sooner, but still a confirmation that it is planned. You know, that's still pretty cool in its own. I'm happy about that. Anyways, though, let me know what you all think about this lineup of planned games. Do you like that they're going all in on Marvel games, or would you have instead preferred a more balanced approach? Let me hear your thoughts, but other than that, I'm going to go and call this a video. My voice is really struggling right now. I'll be curious to see how this sounds when I play it back. But hopefully you all enjoyed the discussion. Hopefully my thoughts wasn't too all over the place. But until next time, peace out.